Hello and welcome back to WIP's Biochemistry once again. In this edition, we will be discussing the mechanism of transfer of electrons to molecular oxygen, which happens during electron transport of cellular respiration. Now, we are familiar with this particular slide. We have discussed this in one of the earlier lectures, that the mitochondrial inner membrane are here, and the respiratory assemblies are arranged along the length of this mitochondrial inner membrane, the C1, C2, ubiquinone, C3 complexes, then the cytochrome C, mobile carrier, another mobile carrier, then C4, the cytochrome C oxidase. We can just recap what happened though. The NADH, which releases electrons, will be passed through complex 1, as well as some of the complexes will act as proton pumps also. So this is what happens for H plus released by the complex 1, then the electrons released travels through like this from 1 to ubiquinone, then ubiquinol complex, the electrons passes to complex 3, and further to the cytochrome C, again the proton pumping, and from C, this reduced cytochrome C to complex 4, the cytochrome C oxidase, which also is a proton pump like this, and that accepts electrons from cytochrome C. So now the electrons are accepted by molecular oxygen. Molecular oxygen accepts 4 of them, 4 electrons, as well as molecular oxygen accepts 4 protons also from matrix, so as to conduct the oxidation process and release 2 molecules of water. So that is highlighted, and this mechanism will be the point of our discussion in this class. This mechanism. So yes, the catalytic cycle actually begins with complex 4 in its fully oxidized form, and the complex the mobile carrier cytochrome C, it's in the reduced form now. It transfers electron to complex 4, and there are different clusters in complex 4 like CUA, then heme A3, like that. And the electrons from cytochrome C, it is first of all accepted by this cluster CUA, which transfer the electron to heme A3 through heme A, and finally reaches CUB, which gets reduced, which means the copper ion in it is reduced, Cu2 plus cupric ion reduced to cuprous ion. And as well, another electron which is released from the cytochrome C, the mobile carrier, reaches again to complex 4, and that goes through, that travels like this, and it travels until it reaches this point. It did not go beyond that level. It reaches heme A3, and heme A3 also is reduced. So what happens is that the ferric ion in it gets reduced to ferrous ion. That is Fe3 plus the ferric ion in it gets reduced to Fe2 plus the ferrous ion. So this is what happens now at this stage. Complex 4 or cytochrome C oxidase is ready to bind oxygen. Now let us see. So this is the heme A3 reduced, CUB also reduced. Now onwards, oxygen come into play. Now oxygen is accepted by heme A3 and CUB. So what is formed here is a peroxide linkage. A peroxide linkage is formed. And now a couple of protons, H plus ions, are accepted from matrix. Like this, H plus is reduced, it is accepted by heme A3, and heme A3 becomes heme A3OH. As well, CUB, the reduced form, also accepts another this H plus ion, and it becomes CUBOH. And further, a couple more of H plus ions, protons, are accepted from matrix again. So what happens is that here and here, and now the heme A3 as well as CUB, they are reverted back to the original state, oxidized form. Heme A3 oxidized and CUB oxidized, these clusters in the complex 4. And what remains here, you can see HOH and HOH, and we know what HOH means here. 2 molecules of water are released like this. So this is the mechanism how oxygen, molecular oxygen, accepts 4 electrons from the respiratory assembly, which travels through respiratory assembly, and finally from complex 4, as well as molecular oxygen accepts simultaneously accepts 4 H plus ions also from matrix. And this process, the process of formation of water molecules, is it's a precarious situation because it has to be done properly. Any accident or any untoward incident during transfer of electrons can result in generation of free radicals like superoxide radicals or H2O2, which eventually can damage vital membranes or vital organs, and which in turn can cause even cancer or atherosclerosis or other diseases.